Welcome to 847 Living, where we talk real estate, lending, and of course, a little bit fun. We service all the communities from the Loop to the Land of Cheese. I'm Julie Town with Coldwell Banker Realty.
And I'm Jason LaBelle with Guaranteed Rate Affinity. Julie and I have been in the real estate and mortgage businesses for about 25 years, and Julie sort of grew up in it as well. We serve all the Midwest, and we are coming to you live today from our podcast studio. We're back for a second episode covering a number of talking points, key news details, and fun facts about all 847 suburbs across Chicago, hitting the mortgage, loan, and realty spaces.
Yeah, today we're going to be discussing the latest real estate market stats, current lending trends, and highlighting festival season. It is that time of year. So let's get to it. Jason, how are rates trending right now? Do we have any big factors that are kind of impacting things? There's a lot going on right now with World Cup, with the Straits of Hormuz. What's been happening with that? USA is 250. Everybody's really excited about that. How is that impacting our mortgage world right now?
So, since we were here in June, a few things have changed. Some things have stayed the same. Mortgage rates, pretty similar to where they were. Okay. Before they were mid-sixes, maybe a hair over. Maybe now mid-sixes, a hair under.
Okay.
So not a lot of change there, which is interesting because, as you're going to talk about later, there's been some movement in inventory and what's going on with the houses. So there's not always a one-to-one connection between what's going on with rates and what's going on with
which is important to know.
Housing. Right. Couple of big stories. The Iran conflict is, not over, but it seems like pieces are in place to bring that to an end. Oil, which had hit 110, is back now around mid-60s, pretty close to where it was prior to this all happening. So that eases some inflation pressure. Inflation pressure is bad for bonds, bad for mortgage rates. However, again, as I said, rates still sort of in that same range. And that's because despite that improvement, job growth has been strong and inflation has remained sticky. And traders don't expect a big change in regards to rates.
So it's kind of holding steady right now.
You know, what the Fed does is a factor. What inflation does is a factor. Jobs is a factor. And there are a lot of inputs that go into all of those things.
Right.
Couple new things with the Fed. Kevin Warsh is the new Fed president.
Yep.
And he came in May. First meeting was mid-June. And that was interesting. They didn't change anything. In fact, there's now more talk about Fed funds rate going up this year as opposed to cuts. We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Guidance is going to be cut back. They were telegraphing what they were going to do, and they would do these dot plots.
Yeah.
Maybe the last dot plot said there's some people who want to raise rates. Interestingly, Kevin Warsh did not provide a dot on that plot.
Okay.
So, we'll see if without that guidance, the markets they're not going to know quite what's going on. And we'll see what happens with the 10-year and then the mortgage rates, which, they're always a little bit higher than the 10-year is going to be because there's that built-in risk premium.
Yep.
So we had a lot happen, but it hasn't really translated to a big move in rates.
Okay.
We'll see where things go over the coming days,
Stay tuned
weeks,
for
and
August.
months. Yeah, that's right. Come back and see us in August.
That's right.
And a quick note about products. Temporary buy downs are back a little bit. We've had a really strong housing market locally.
Yeah.
But with some softening, sometimes a seller needs to do something to entice a buyer. And a great product for that is a temporary buy down. A 3-2-1, a 2-1, where the rate is literally 2% lower for the first year or two, or for the first year, and then 1% lower for a year, and then it's the market rate. And that's something that the seller can do, spend their money on, and it's usually maybe as enticing as cutting the price, but a lot doesn't hit the pocketbook the way a price cut does.
Right.
Instead of cutting your price $20,000, maybe for $10,000, you can pay for a buy down and incentivize buyers to get in. So that's something that we're starting to see a little bit in some areas where the market's not quite the seller's market that it was.
Okay.
And buyers have a little bit more power.
Okay. People are getting creative. Yeah.
With that, inventory, the market around here, what changes have you seen?
So we've actually seen some great changes in that as well. Inventory is definitely improving. I pulled some numbers from Remine, which is a source we use through our MLS here. And from May to June, in May, there were 402 active listings, not under contract.
And in what area does that?
So I started in Evanston and went all the way up to the state line, covered Cook and then Lake counties in that. So most of the 847 area code, right? And we had 402 active in May, and in June, we have 2,000. So that's a really big jump. Same thing with under contracts. We had about 500 under contract in May, and now we have about 1,500 under contract in June. So also big. Closings have been relatively steady, around 1,450 closings both months. So that piece of things are steady. I anticipate the closings should raise a little bit.
More inventory over time, you'll
Yes.
see those closing pick up.
Yeah, and really fun fact, last year in June, I just happened to pull June of 2025 to see what that was like compared to June of 2026. There were under 50 homes active on the market in June of 2025 that were not under contract. So we have definitely seen a shift in inventory. Is it a normal inventory? Hard to say yet. We are starting to see a little bit of price reduction, but it's hard to tell if this is just going to be like a summer boom and then inventory is going to drop again. We don't really know what's happening with that yet. So I would say if you're a seller, just be careful not to overprice your home in this market, because we tend to go, oh, it's been a buyer's market for so long, and that drives prices up because supply and demand, right? Well, now we're starting to get supply, so things are going to have to stabilize and prices can't go the way they've been trending with those 8-10% increases year over year.
And if sellers don't have quite the power they used to because of the supply and demand, those buy downs might help. And obviously an experienced agent who's been through all of the ebbs and flows of the market and knows how to, work with their buyers and their sellers to get them through it.
You really need to be educated, have an agent that really can educate you. So, and now's it's a great time to sell because you can get on the market and get sold before school starts. There's a big push for that right now.
Right.
So, yeah. All right, well, let's get to some fun. So it's summer, it's festival season.
It's definitely summer. As we record, it's 90-ish outside and it's 90s yesterday.
Yeah.
Not high 90s today.
Right.
So it's summer.
And we're all festive in our July wear, happy 250 USA. So let's talk about festival season. Do you have any favorites? Do you have any new ones you want to try? Festivals that you plan to bring your family to this year?
I mean, I don't really travel over the summer because there is so much to do. The weather's great here. There's stuff to do all over the city. A couple of my favorites, I like First Fridays. There's one in Winnetka. There's one in Grays Lake. Just gives the communities a chance to highlight and feature themselves, the shops, the galleries. Those are great. Keep an eye on those, whether it's July, August. Some of them go into September and even through the year.
Yep.
One of my favorites, because it's not too far from me, in Highland Park on Thursday nights, they have a food truck festival.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Anyway,
I have never
they
been
get
to
like
that.
8-9 food trucks, and there's music. It's in a park. They're really kid-friendly. It's hundreds of people.
Wow.
I think that's great. It's, 4:30 or 5 until, after it gets dark. So those are two things that I always look for, First Fridays and Food Truck Social in Highland Park. What about you? I know you grew up here. You've got some things you've been doing for years. What's on your agenda?
Yep. So I would say the staple in our house is the Lake County Fair. It's kind of the crown jewel, the anchor of festivals and fairs, right? It's always that last weekend of July into first weekend of August.
You're going to tell me there are animals there.
So there are animals, livestock. And, if you live in those suburbs that are a little more urban, you might not have a chance to see cows and pigs and sheep and also family friendly, right? Your kids can learn how to milk a cow and see a goat and, touch pigs. And then they also have 4-H, which has arts and crafts and bunnies and hens. And I mean, there's all kinds of things competing, right? And then you also have the carnival, the midway, the games, the food. And then they have events. They have concerts. They've got a demolition derby. I mean, who doesn't love to watch cars crash on a Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon on purpose, right? So it's just, a little bit of, I don't know, good old country Americana, if you will.
Right, which is nice. This America 250 and just, we all spend so much time in our homes, in our communities, and that's great. But it's nice to see what else is out there and interact with the rest of your
It is.
state.
It's fun. And, a lot of the communities in the area have their local festivals. I think Lake Forest is early August. Vernon Hills is mid-July. Some of them have already happened, but they have their little, taste of their town. And some carnival rides and fun. And it's just fun to get out and see vendors, crafts, things like that in your community and bring your community together. So
That sounds like a lot of fun. I may give that a try. As we wrap up, it's been another interesting month. They all are. We've seen some changes and gives us some idea of some things that will be coming down the pike. I'm excited to see what happens the next 30 odd days and what we have to talk about next month at this time.
Yeah, I mean, I'm curious to see if this is going to be a real shift in our market and we're working towards that stable market, or if this was just sort of the summer boom. I would love to see our market shift a little and become a little more stable. It's just easier for negotiating purposes. It's easier. It's a nice balance for buyers and sellers. But we'll see. Hard to know yet.
Right. Well, that wraps up this episode of 847 Living. Thanks for joining us as we share the latest real estate and lending and life around the 847. We'll be back next month with fresh insights and things to talk about.
Yeah, and in the meantime, you can connect with us at our website, which is julietown.com, or on our socials, Julietown Real Estate and LaBelle Lens. So if you've enjoyed this episode, please give us a like. We hope you all enjoy the summer, and we hope to see you out and about the 847. Until then, get busy living.